Hold up.
Hey SMU crew, and welcome to the official training, Agency or Freelancer. Another way to put this is agency versus freelancer. Now, a lot of people wonder, do I want to become a full-fledged agency or do I want to remain a freelancer, or another word for this is solopreneur? And we're going to dive into a little bit of the pros and cons of each so you can figure out what makes the most sense for you. Now, I'm going to be straight up honest, there is not one right answer for everyone. And I want you to make sure that you recognize I'm not saying that one is better than the other. There are pros and cons to both agency models and to being a freelancer. So I'm going to share with you a little bit of those pros and cons so you can make the best decision for you. Now, first and foremost, we've got freelancer. A freelancer is essentially someone who works one-on-one with clients and they have a little or no team. So usually it's no team, it's usually a solopreneur. You are the face of your company, generally speaking. You're the one doing all the work or most of the work. It is a different model significantly than agency style. Now, the pros of being a freelancer, there are a lot of pros. Now, before we dive into this, I'm going to share with you that before I hired anyone in the agency, I got to about $22,000, $23,000 months with just clients. And with just the help of one person full time, we were able to get to $56,000 months as a solopreneur with a little bit of help before we officially transitioned into being an agency. So it's not like it's a horrible model. You can do a decent amount. But first and foremost, the biggest pro of remaining a freelancer is profit. Oh my gosh. All of the revenue that you make is income minus expenses, but your expenses should be low. You don't need an office. You don't have to hire a team. You don't need tons of expensive software. You don't need to be forking over tons of money for logos or branding or websites or anything like that. So the profit is hands down unmatched. Now, there's less risk of things getting messed up in a way, meaning when you don't have to have a team that you rely on, you get to be the ultimate final test of everything. You get to make sure that everything looks the way that you want it to. You've got your stamp of approval on everything because you're actually doing it. There's no need to manage a team. This is especially helpful if you are not someone who is good at managing. And, managing a couple people is something I can do, but as we scaled our agency, I realized quickly that I am not a manager. So there was obviously some trials and some struggles as we figured out what that process looked like. And ultimately, I learned that I prefer the vision and creating the strategy. And so we brought my husband into my business full time to handle operations and management, and he is phenomenal at it. But as a solopreneur, as a freelancer, you do not need to manage a team, which can be a major, major pro. There is, in a way, less stress. There's less moving pieces because you're going to be handling, everything from billing to performing to scheduling to posting. So there's less moving pieces where the balls can get dropped, passing them from one person to the next. So in a way, there is less stress in that aspect. And you get to be in charge of the relationships with your clients. I love my clients. I really wish that we could always know every single one of our clients as we scale, but there's something that's kind of special about being a freelancer and having a great relationship with every single one of your clients. Now, there are also some cons of being a freelancer. And just so you guys know, any marketing professional who does not speak on both the pros and the cons or says that there is no con or no disadvantage to an option is not telling you the truth. There are always pros and cons. It's like saying, what are the pros and cons of having kids? If you say there are no cons to having kids, you're crazy. It's like saying there are no cons to getting married. Oh my goodness. No, there are pros and cons of everything, and you have to weigh all the options. So let's talk about the cons of being a freelancer. When you want a vacation or you get sick, it's very difficult because ultimately, since you're the one in charge of everything, it means the things still need to get handled even if you want to be on vacation. I remember a particular time in my business when this was challenging, and it was when we went to Mexico and two of my clients were in the middle of a launch. That was very challenging. It meant that every day I was focused on my clients when I just wanted to be on vacation. Now, granted, you don't have to take on clients that are launching right when you go on vacation. But if you get sick, it's you that still has to do the work. So you're going to have to roll out of bed or even just work from bed. So it's a little different than obviously the agency model. It does ultimately limit how much you can scale. You are only one person, and I'll be honest, most people can't necessarily scale to 23K months with clients by themselves. So there is a limit on scaling. So I just want to realistically put this out there. No one to brainstorm with or vent with or cry with or, just discuss different things that aren't working. This sometimes can make you feel a little bit lonely in your business, but thank goodness for the SMU crew. They've got your back. You've got friends, people to brainstorm with, people to vent with, but just nobody who is directly involved in your business. And sometimes that can be kind of frustrating for some people who are verbal processors. The other thing as well is that there are less tax write-offs. And as your business grows, tax write-offs are going to become something that are essential to make sure you don't get absolutely slammed by taxes at the end of every year. Tax write-offs are huge. And of course, employees and contractors I am not a financial advisor. Make sure to consult with your accountant. This is not intended to be financial nor legal advice, but freelancers that you hire into your business can be tax write-offs, whereas when it's just you, there are very little tax write-offs. So you can expect to see a big tax bill if you're not saving for it. Now, the agency model is totally different. As you know, I have now done both, and I enjoy the agency model. But at the end of this training, I'm going to share with you which is my favorite. You might be surprised. Now, the cool thing is you get to work with a team to deliver results for your client versus just working one-on-one. And there's something really cool about having a whole team with a common mission in mind. Now, the pros of being an agency model, you can get a break. Oh, doesn't that sound kind of nice? Yes, you can actually get a break when you have a team in place to help you. This is hands down, I think, one of the greatest advantages to becoming an agency model. Getting a break. Yes, please. You have a team to brainstorm with, geek out with, come up with new ideas, handle challenges with. It's really awesome to have a team in place. You'll have more time to work on your business since other people will be supporting you in your business. Working on your business means more strategies are taken care of, sales techniques, lead generation. You get to become more visible. It's awesome. In a way, there's also less stress because not everything falls on you. Sometimes it's really helpful to have a team, especially if you've trained them well and have great systems into place. The stress of doing it all by yourself can sometimes be a little bit much for some people. So there's less stress in an agency, but it's a different kind of stress. So obviously there's less stress in freelancing and there's less stress in agencies, depending on which of the two poisons you like to pick. Now, you're not always expected to be on, which is kind of nice. When you have a team in place and they're able to help you with emails or client questions or setting up a campaign, it is really nice, especially if something happens over a weekend and you can reach out to a team member and say, hey, can you take care of this for me? There's something really freeing about not always having to be on. Now, there are also some distinct cons of being an agency. For example, this is quite possibly what I think is one of the biggest cons. Suddenly, income does not equal revenue. As a freelancer, your income can be fat cash. I'm telling you, it's kind of crazy. But the moment you become an agency, there's a lot of overhead. There's, your team, there's your agency office. If you choose to have an office, there's paying for tools and software and system management and all of that. It can be really difficult. Now, managing people is also another con. If you are not talented and skilled at managing people, it's going to take a lot of your focus to make sure that you've got your team on board and excited about what work you're doing together. You've got everyone aligned towards a common mission. Of course, there's the risk of not performing or having team members who are not performing. One great way to reduce this risk is to hire A players only. But personally, I've loved both. I loved being a freelancer and I loved being an agency. I've had times where I've been very happy in both of these models. But my favorite right now is currently the agency model, which is actually kind of surprising to me. It wasn't always my favorite model, but the moment that I began really just working with A players, I felt like we could do anything together. And the happiest I've ever been is when I am embracing whichever place I'm in. So if I'm a freelancer, if I'm an agency, when I embrace it versus feeling the pain of not getting to the next level, that's when I've been the happiest. So you can be happy as a freelancer and you can be happy as an agency model. But the biggest thing is you have to choose happiness. Sound fair? Now I'm excited to hear from you. Go ahead and comment in the SMU Crew Facebook group, which if you don't know, you can go to www.smucrew.com to access that Facebook group. And I want you to share with me, what are you thinking? Are you going to be a freelancer or are you going to scale into an agency? I can't wait to hear from you, SMU Crew. I'll catch you later.